It is my pleasure to welcome a former DEA agent, a person that has traveled the world giving children and parents and teachers the opportunity to change their lives. So please welcome Rocky Herron.
And I have been associated with the World Boxing Council for about 5 years. And in fact, I found this picture. This is 5 years ago yesterday, the first day I met Mauricio. And he saw my presentation, and it left him looking like this. And interestingly, the other man on the right side is Christopher Landau. And on Sunday, President Trump named him to be Deputy Secretary of State for the United States. So we have a friend now at the top of the US State Department, and I'm hoping that that will start to change some of how we view what's going on. What I'm going to talk about this morning is what I call a perfect storm. It's a drug threat to all of our children. And the problem I'm fighting against affects all of us. If you have kids, if you have family members, if you live in our communities, you're at threat from the drug crisis. And I spent 30 years trying to stop it as a police officer, and I realized that as important as arresting the drug traffickers is, it's never going to solve the problem on its own. And too often when we look at the drug problem, we only look at how it impacts the individual. And my life experience tells me that our failure to honestly talk about the drug problem is leading to failure in all of these areas, in our homes, in our communities, our schools, and it certainly impacts the world of young boxers. And we know that the majority of kids who come into boxing anywhere in the world, many of them are doing it to escape from problems in home, problems in the streets. And I think the reason that Mauricio supports my work so much is we share a belief that we have to give those kids information and power to protect the choices they make. That is a picture of me when I started in DEA. And the kids laugh and they can't believe that that could happen to somebody when they get old. But I show this picture because I've spent my life from 23 years old till today seeing what the drug problem does to beautiful people across the world. I've investigated cocaine trafficking in Bolivia, methamphetamine trafficking in the United States. There's no part of the drug problem that I haven't seen. And it's getting worse. And much of what I talk about and what I'm going to share with you this morning is what's happening in the United States. It's terrifying what's happening in the United States, but it's growing everywhere else. Sadly, many of the bad trends in the world start in the United States, and then eventually they spread to other countries. These are headlines from the United States. 13-year-olds bringing the drug fentanyl to their schools and dying from it. 13-year-olds giving the drug fentanyl to their friends and killing their friends. 5-year-old who fatally shot his baby brother with a gun, had cocaine in his system. The baby he killed had marijuana in his system. This absurd, terrible headline is the reality in the United States. And we're not doing anything differently. 16-year-old killed a 12-year-old with fentanyl, has been charged with murder. We are charging teenagers in the United States with murder for distributing the drugs today. This family took that beautiful child to Florida for vacation. They rented an Airbnb. They put the baby down for a nap. They came back and found that she had died. The previous renters of the Airbnb, someone had left fentanyl where that baby went for her nap. This mother, high on the concentrated THC, let her baby eat the THC and killed her child. This is a video of Philadelphia. This is from about 6 years ago. What you're going to see in this video is happening in every city in the United States today. What we're living is a crisis, an epidemic of people getting addicted to and living on fentanyl in the streets. And what you're seeing in this video started in Philadelphia, but it's now in every city in the United States. There's no city in America that you can visit that does not have this crisis happening. teach children in other countries that idealize the United States. I teach in Mexico, and I show the kids in Mexico this video of the United States, and they can't believe it. They think it has to be fake. That the richest country in the world would never allow this to happen in their streets. And too many people focus on the drugs as the problem. The drug crisis is a problem, but it is also a symptom of these underlying problems. In America, we want to medicate ourselves with prescription drugs and illegal drugs because we're not doing well mentally. Everyone I know feels more stressed. I feel more stressed. We acknowledge since COVID, we're all different. And I think you'll find that's true in your lives. You're more stressed, your families are more stressed, and people are seeking a solution through chemicals. And at the end of the day, I think we're suffering a crisis of connection. We're not feeling connected to our families, we're not feeling connected to our countries, not feeling connected to our work. They did a survey of teenagers in the United States. And I repeatedly talk about how the United States is the richest country in the history of the world. And yet they did a survey of the mental health of teenagers, and they found that almost half of American teenagers told the government they feel persistently sad and hopeless. Not sometimes sad and hopeless. Half of our future. And this changed to nothing. I saw this information and I thought we would have a crisis conversation. I thought our government would do whatever it needed to do to help our kids. But it's not just the United States. And then too many people want to blame it all on the phones. I frequently hear people say, well, it's because of the phones. The phones and the social media are not helping. But these problems we've had in our teenagers have always existed. They've just grown to levels that we can't comprehend. This study in Mexico from their most prestigious university says that 90% of the teenagers in Mexico are suffering emotionally. And then the drugs that are available are stronger, they're cheaper, they're easier to get, and they're more socially acceptable. And right now, there is no good conversation happening between the United States and Mexico about drugs. Our governments are not really talking to each other. And that's why I'm here. Because I think that we collectively can change number 4. You, in your world, with the kids around you, with the young boxers, or your children and your families, we can all work to change number 4. Let's teach our kids the truth. Let's teach them to make better choices. Let's make it unacceptable to bring drugs into their lives. And one of the saddest ways to measure the drug problem is to count the people that die from it. When I started my DEA career, it was 10,000 people a year in the United States. 10,000 a year. Today, it's almost 10,000 a month. Every month in the United States, almost 10,000 people die because at some point, some friend came up and said, look what I got, let's do this. And those 10,000 people went, okay, cool, I want to do this, I can handle it, and they die. That's 300 Americans a day, every single day. 2 years ago, 112,000 died. Last year, 102,000. And people are celebrating that it's only 102,000. I'm happy the number went down. I cannot celebrate 102,000 people dying from drug abuse. We will lose 300 today, and 300 tomorrow, and every day. And my country, the United States, has accepted this. We're not doing anything different. I will never accept that. And I'm extremely grateful to Mauricio and the WBC to support my work and let me reach as many kids as I can. People dying is not the only problem we have. Hundreds of thousands of pregnant women in the United States use drugs and alcohol, damaging their children. 30,000 babies a year are born addicted to opioids, like heroin, fentanyl, OxyContin. And the addiction is so severe, and the pain of the withdrawal sickness in the babies is so severe that we give them the medicine morphine to try to take away some of the pain caused by their mothers.
Baby is always unsettling. And it's even worse when you know the baby, like this little girl, just days old, is in pain. Her jittery shakes and her shrill cry are very distinctive, and they last for days. Doctors know exactly what's to blame.
Heroin.
Today she'd be saying fentanyl. 30,000 babies a year. I saw 2 in my DEA career, and I was traumatized. 30,000 a year, and we don't seem to care. And then the collateral damage. who else gets hurt? Little 4-year-old boy in the car with the parents who overdose on heroin in the car in front of him. 4 years old, thinks his dad's dead, thinks the dad's girlfriend is dead, surrounded by police officers in the middle of a nightmare. 4 years old. But when we look on his face, we don't see him reacting. And he's not reacting because he's used to it. This is his normal life. And I know this because the kids come talk to me. I have talked to 260,000 children in 17 countries. And when I'm done talking to them, they come tell me their trauma. They tell me how their lives have been destroyed by someone else's drug abuse. And they cry and they ask me for a hug, and I cry back. And when the stories particularly break my heart, I take a selfie so I can remember these kids. I remember all the stories. But we don't count these kids. We don't count them, we don't measure them, but they're everywhere. And they're in your boxing clubs, and they're in your schools. And I believe we all have a duty to help these kids. This little girl couldn't even tell me her trauma. She had the courage to come ask for a hug, but she didn't have the courage to tell me what she'd suffered. The phones have changed all of us, but what they've really done for our kids is they changed how they communicate. Kids today don't even understand how we used to talk to each other. We used to share our problems. We used to share our reality. They don't anymore. And we have more kids today in every country suffering and lonely and sad, and then they go home, if they have a home to go to, and this happens. And I know because I was that dad. I did this to my daughters. I was so busy with my DEA career. I was gone all the time. When they were home, I was in my phone all the time, and I was not present for my children. And I'll never get that time back. And I'm going to beg you to take a look at yourself and make sure you're not doing this to your kids. But the kids aren't talking to their friends about their pain. They're not talking to their families about their pain. They're carrying it around inside. And when they look on social media, they make a mistake because what they see on social media is the lie. They see the illusion. And the illusion is that everybody else is good. The illusion that everybody else has the perfect life. And the kids don't understand that everybody's broken. And when the kids come to think that they're the only one that's broken, they become desperate for a solution. And the phones give them terrible options. The social media and the people trying to take advantage of our kids through the phones, telling them drug abuse and alcohol abuse is going to solve their problems. They make the mistake to use the drug or alcohol recreationally, and then they discover that it masked their pain, so they begin to self-medicate with it, and then with the very powerful drugs today, they end up addicted.
Rocky, any person is a bad person for getting into that process of being addicted?
No, I tell this very clearly. Drug users are beautiful, special, unique people making bad decisions. Drug users are beautiful people making bad choices. Drug dealers are bad people. If you're selling drugs, I want you in jail. But I don't blame a child. I don't blame an adult for making the mistake of getting into addiction. But what I'm trying to do is to prevent that. I'm trying to teach them before they make the mistakes that damage their lives. We used to worry about heroin. We don't have to worry about heroin. It's been replaced by fentanyl. This little bit of fentanyl on the penny on the left is enough to kill me from an overdose, and I weigh 200 pounds. It's the same high as heroin, the same addiction as heroin, it's just 50 times stronger. And when it's that powerful and the drug dealers make the smallest mistake, they kill the person who used it. It's coming in the United States in these pills. These look like they came from a pharmacy. I was an expert for our government. I thought these were real. Our laboratory proved me wrong. The drug dealers are not trying to kill our kids, but they're willing to kill a few of our kids to get the rest of them addicted. The pills kill because they're made by idiots, not scientists. They take the green sugar, they mix the red drug together. They don't know how to do that properly. So some of the pills, and you can't really see very well, but some of the pills have none of the drug. Some have enough to get you high, some have enough to kill anybody who takes it. This is a game I play in the schools, so I'm going to play this game with you. Raise your hand, 1 or 2, with your fingers, if you can tell me which is the fake Beyonce. 1 or 2. That's easy, right? Which is the fake Nike? 1 or 2. You guys are good. But now we're at the party. And our friend brings in these 2 pills. And we've been warned about fentanyl, but we can still tell which one's fake. Which of these pills would kill you or your friend if you took it? One or two? Which pill will kill your child? One or two? One or two? One or two? And the kids complain, and I explain to them that this is maybe the most important message. Our culture in every country, the popular culture, the movies, the TV shows, the celebrities still tell our kids that drug use is fun, it's recreational. The truth is that if you play the drug game today, you will lose. First case I did in San Diego, 4,000 pills coming in from Mexico. We took 4,000 pills and we thought we were making a difference. 4,000 pills. Today they're coming in by the millions. That is 1 million pills that we seized at the border coming up from Mexico. And for every 1 million pills that we and the police capture, 10 to 20 million we did not capture. They get through for our society. And then I'll finish talking about marijuana. This is a very dangerous problem because the marijuana today is not the marijuana of 20 years ago. The marijuana my friends offered me was the marijuana on the left, the natural plant that has 4% of the THC, the drug that gets you high. But the marijuana that's grown today is a genetically modified marijuana that has 25 to 30%. But our parents don't understand this. They think it's the same gentle marijuana from decades ago. And then the kids tell us they don't want to use the plant. They want to use the concentrated marijuana. And they make it in these beautiful, colorful forms, and they give it cool names. But this is from an investigation I did in San Diego. That brown bubbling goo, that is the concentrated marijuana at a laboratory. It does not look organic, does it? And yet when it gets to our kids, they've made it look like this. And we let them make it look like this. So I am tired of waiting until our kids break themselves. And I'm here at this convention, I'm here talking to you because I need your help. If you want to help the kids in your neighborhood, in your world, in your boxing club, I want to help you. We have WBC University putting out training videos. I will do virtual sessions. Mauricio might send me to give a presentation to help our kids. The program I came up with is called I Choose My Future. I use this little hand sign. It looks like the loser sign. But what it means is I make the choices. And I tell the kids, no matter how good or bad your life has been, I can't help you. But the only thing you control today are the choices you make today to try to make it better. And I teach this to the kids repeatedly. They are in charge of their lives. These are pictures of some of my work around the world. As far as I know, I'm the only person that's been able to do this. Go to all these countries and engage with children on this topic. And it doesn't matter where I go. I don't have to change anything I teach. And I find that remarkable because this is a global problem. Everywhere I go, the kids understand everything I'm talking about because they're all watching the same garbage in the movies and TV shows and music videos. They're listening to the same celebrities lie to them and lie to all your kids and your grandkids, telling them drug use is cool and normal. Kids in prison, listen to me. This is incredible. This group of kids was hateful to me. They were dropping the F word on me and flipping me off when I started teaching. And when I finished, they chose to stand and show respect because it's not an accident that a teenager ends up in prison. These kids are in prison because they were hurt when they were little. They were abused and they were neglected, most often by parents or guardians lost to substance abuse. And then Mauricio keeps raising the bar on me. And he arranged for me to go into a Mexican prison in July. And I was afraid. The night before I went into this Mexican prison, I was afraid. A little bit of getting hurt, but mostly of failing. How can I, a cop from the United States, reach 150 men in prison in Mexico? But when I was done, they were acting like little kids because they were all wounded when they were kids. All of these men were badly wounded when they were kids. And I asked them, do you want to repeat this cycle in your own children? And they started listening to me. Sound on? This is 1,500, 1,500 13-year-olds in California last year. And I give the kids a final exam where I say, who chooses your future? And the answer is, I choose my future. And I'm very proud of that, because if I can get that 1,500 13-year-olds to have a change of attitude about drugs at my assembly, then logically some of them are going to make smarter choices the next time a friend offers them drugs. And then Mauricio's offered me incredible help from the WBC. Mike Tyson sent a short video that I use in my presentations. Sound on?
Mike Tyson, WBC heavyweight champion, and I worry about you. Rocky has a powerful message. Please listen to him and pay attention. I choose my future.
I've met Mike twice, but of course I make the kids think that he and I are good friends, and it works very well. But this is, again, the mess. This is a quote from Ralph Waldo Emerson from 150 years ago. The only person you are destined to be is the person you decide to be. Right? We meet so many of the boxing champions that came from complete hardship, and for some reason they chose to make boxing their way out of the hardship. And I think we need to teach a lot more kids that same message. And this is one of my final slides. And I tell the kids, look, every time you make a decision in your life, you have to think about where it might take you. And when it comes to drugs, I ask them, are you willing to make the obviously stupid choices that are going to take you to pain and sadness? Or are you going to make the smart choices that take you to joy and love in your futures? And I want to bring this message to as many kids as I can. So thank you very much for letting me talk, Mauricio, and thank you for listening.
Rocky, we have a few boxers and a few members of the WBC family that I am sure would like to join your efforts. So I would like to ask anyone who wishes to be part of the I Choose My Future program to get up, please. Ikram, Pepe, Ernesto, Nancy, Mansui, Christian, Silvana, Jill, you have a team. So I cannot express our pride for the work you do every single day. I have been there, and once you see the faces of the kids, the parents, the teachers, you understand. This can happen to any of us. So you're a hero, Rocky, and I cannot be more thankful. So I kindly ask you to accept this medal from Hussein Huichi as just a piece of gratitude from the WBC family for all that you do.
Champion.